Here's a question for you, Joey, because you could probably judge this the best, but ever since the beginning of time, there's always been this debate of subs versus dubs. You know, the Japanese voice acting is always great. Has there been any show or any anime from your experience that is just bad voice acting from like a Japanese side of things?
Man, that's hard to say because at least with from my understanding and my experience, at least Japanese voice acting in anime has just had an insanely high bar to jump over.
Oh
now.
no, yeah.
Even ever since I could obviously go back to an anime from the 70s or the 80s and probably find some bad voice acting there, but that's because it was a medium that was still getting refined since the 60s, right?
Yeah.
But I think honestly, every anime I've seen since the late 80s, early 90s, I don't think there's been like one or two bad voices or one or two maybe like underqualified voices compared to everybody else in that same show, but I wouldn't say there's an entire show that has like bad voice acting because
the same way that there are bad dubs and everything.
Yeah,
like that.
exactly. And I don't know, maybe that's like a cultural thing. Maybe
I think it's because they've set up a system here that ensures they're getting voice talent, right?
Yeah.
They have schools specifically for voice acting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We don't really have that in the
No.
West. It's you go to acting school and then maybe you stumble into voiceover, right? If that's what you like.
Right.
Yeah.
There's not really a system.
But their entire, like 4-year universities.
No, right,
of,
exactly.
Like, Seiyu schools
It's the same reason why like Korea are normally amazing at esports. They have the infrastructure there to support like making this talent.
Yeah.
And in Japan, obviously they've been having those schools for a while where the bar is getting pushed constantly.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas it's not really like that in the West.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the great thing as well with the structure of, at least with Japanese voice acting in anime, is that if there is a new voice actor or actress that comes into the industry, they usually start them off with very, very small roles. Maybe one line or even just background noise to kind of get them used to that environment and give them as much experience as possible. And then maybe after they do, 10 roles of playing person passing behind the main character after the 10th time, then they can give them a role where it's
very
like,
Japanese, very safe.
here's 2 more lines. Okay, the next one will give you 5 lines. The next one will give you 10 lines, and then it just builds and builds from there. Unless if it's someone that just has insane amount of talent from the get-go, and they're just confident enough to put them into a show, and then they make a name for themselves.
Because some of the best dub performances have been from actors where they weren't acting in any other animated shows.
Oh no, yeah. I think Johnny Young Bosch like stumbled into his first dub role by accident. I think same with Steve Bloom as well.
I think so. From what if I remember,
it's been a while since I heard the stories.
Both fantastic voice actors as well.
God, I think was the guy who did Light in the Death Note dub. He did a lot of the Ocean dubs in Canada because he did
because he did Rock from Black Lagoon as well.
I think he was doing My Little Pony before.
Really?
Or he did it after. I think he did it after, but before that I don't think he'd done anything. I know the guy who voices Lad Rousseau in Bakano. I hadn't done any anime at that point.
I remember a lot of back then, a lot of the voice actors who voiced in Bakano that was like their first role. And everyone fucking killed it. It was a lot of unknown voice actors and actresses in that show.
Great show.
Yeah. Question to you guys then. With the ridiculously high bar that Japanese voice acting has, what are some shows that that even stand out for you with like the Japanese voice talent and voice acting? I'll tell you the show that stands out to me most recently, and that's Beastars.
Oh yeah,
Beastars has absolutely like insane voice acting, and it's very different because it didn't sound like your typical anime kind of voice acting. It sounded very grounded and
I don't know
realistic.
who the voice actor for Legacy is, but his acting was so good.
Yeah,
like Legacy and Lewis, was like they both had like the voice acting performances of that year. In any anime,
easily.
In my opinion, like even with shows like Attack on Titan 3 coming out that had some great voice acting, I still think Beastars was like just a cut above the rest.
I think it's just because Beastars as a show was just a cut above the rest.
Yeah.
Like it was just such a fucking amazing show.
I'm trying to think of any Japanese shows that really blew me away with voice acting.
JoJo.
I mean, my man Dio kills it every fucking time. Like that performance, I spoke about this before. Like his performance, like as Dio. Like I'm not memes aside, like it's fucking amazing.
Oh
he's fucking great.
And everyone in Part 5, I would argue as well, has fantastic voices. I think the thing with Japanese voices as well is that they can just do casting so well.
Oh yeah, they get it.
Yeah.
Like they understand how important casting is for a character.